There we go. Now can you hear me? So what I was saying, Marcus, in my muted state, which I'm sure you'd rather prefer me in, is I am more than happy to have only 8 people on here. If this live stream only helped even a single person, I'd still do it. Are those presents for you? Absolutely not. Heck, they're not even for me. You have to understand, when you have a kid, everything is for then the kid. Everything. You think you're buying yourself a gift? Nope. It's for the kid. It's like, honey, I want a new refrigerator. It's like, no, why do we need the new refrigerator? Well, it's got more storage space. That way we can store more food for the kid. It's all for the kid. Multitasking might be a myth, but boy howdy, I'm going to try. Well, I'd recommend you try not to multitask. I mean, obviously, it's probably very difficult to look at my gorgeous face and hear my voice at the same time, but try away. Okay, so a good idea would be to not do the objectives we did last time, because we just waste our time doing that. So what I'm going to do is we'll still spin the wheel, but obviously if we hit one that we've hit before, I'm not going to do that. Now that would be a complete waste of our time. Not sure which one's which. Okay, so there we go. Okay, perfect. Yep, so I got both of them. Make sure that I sort them here by top rated, ranked by votes, just in case anything changed, which I doubt it did. Perfect. Wait, Mr. McKinney has said something. All the bills and plans and stuff from the Jacksonian and slavery sections. Bills and plans. Marcus, here's where I'm a little bit confused. Are you referring to, like, it necessarily wasn't Jacksonian, but like all the lead up to the Civil War? Are you talking about like all the different plans leading up to that? Like the compromises that we talked about? Because those are in two pretty distinct areas, but I mean, obviously there's still negotiations that happened during the Jacksonian time period. Oh my god, folks, I think we pushed into double digits with the live stream.
What?
My wife is making fun of me. Let's see. Yes, the ones we had to match because I mismatched a lot of them. Did we already establish that this live stream is whole blocked on Chromebooks? Yes, we already did establish that, Miss Jillian. Remember, live streaming is totes and a probe. So, I talked with Mr. Starks about this, and there is a good reason why. Live streaming is super dangerous. All the compromises. All right, yeah, we can look at those. Okay, so first things first, before we get going anywhere. it over just a little bit. There we go. That looks better. Oh my gosh, watching a teacher telling me the answers is one of the most dangerous things I've ever did do. Yes, education is completely dangerous. It's lethal. Anywho. So, let's see. What ones did we do? We did not do the causes and effects of the Panic of 1837. We did not do mercantilism and how it applied to the American continent. Let's see. We did the Glorious Revolution. We did the Civil War. So that really only leaves us then with the causes and consequences of the Mexican-American War. And then, let's see. The context of the battle at the Alamo. And then you guys did some stuff with Hollywood videos and looking at how it's been interpreted over time, which I'm more than happy to talk about, and we can go make some critiques of those different films. So. What's the coffee level thing? The coffee level thing is my current level of coffee that is currently decreasing at the moment, because I haven't had coffee since a few minutes ago. And it will hit dangerously critical levels, and I have to refuel. Alright, I just can't not comment during this, so I'm going to clarify that Abby Hyde is Sarah. Okay. Alright. I mean, I'd understand if it were like, you know, like S. Causey is Sarah Causey, but okay. It is not the amount of time I'm streaming. No. Think of it like a countdown to destruction. Because if we hit 0, we find ourselves in a dangerous state where Ridgeway does not have coffee. Come here. All right, so yes, let's look at compromises first. The thing Americans are so good at doing. I'm just going to pull up in the slides itself because it's going to be a little bit easier for me to refer to the slides on this one. Abby's what my family calls me, and I go by Hyde because it's my stepdad's last name. Oh, that might... Abby? How do you get... Okay, just curious. How do you get Sarah or Abby from Sarah? Miss Rebecca, that was not a dog. That's called a cat. His name's Khal, as in Khal Drogo, also from Game of Thrones. Abby's what you're... Okay, I didn't know that. Good to know. Learning new things about your students every day. So, before I pick on Sarah anymore. Alright, so when we were talking about the Civil War, our objective is that when we were talking about all these compromises, that we actually can see that they're, that as it says there, explain the negotiations and what causes them, and what you can kind of start to see there is that there's, what we were really getting to was that there was an escalation of tensions, that the compromises seem to be coming faster, they seem to be happening more frequently, and that is because as manifest destiny, and again, we kind of talked about this in a previous class, like what's really causing them is that as manifesting destiny as it's doing its thing, as it's manifesting its destiny, the United States is unable to deal with the question of the territorial expansion of slavery. Okay, and so that is what is causing the negotiations. Now, in terms of actually explaining them, that's getting into the mini lesson itself. So let's go past our Teletubby baby here and keep going. Okay, so remember the first one was the Northwest Ordinance of 1787. Okay, so again, that's and why this was technically a negotiation is because even though this was passed just before the Articles of Confederation died, it basically set up the way that states become states, and then also, at least for the next basically 60 years, a little bit more than that, about 75 years, at least sets the expectation that those territories that you can see right here, Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, a little bit of, that those states will not have slavery in them, which of course we know is going to be ruined later by the Dred Scott decision, but that's getting ahead of ourselves, right? So that's the first one. So 1787, and then we fast forward to 1820, and that is the Missouri Compromise. So again, if you look at the map there, the question is now, again, the United States is manifesting its destiny, it's spreading westward, and so inevitably there's going to be some kind of, or it seems like there's going to be some kind of conflict between these states. Now again, like the Northwest Territory only was applying to those particular states, so the question becomes then, like, as new states are starting to become admitted to the Union, which soon are states like Louisiana and Arkansas and Missouri, are those states going to become free states, or are they going to become slave states? So what we're left with then is that when Missouri applies to be a slave state, we get a whole bunch of very contentious wrangling over it. We have stuff like the Talmadge Amendment, which is an amendment that's attempted in the Senate by Senator Talmadge, that basically he's like, yeah, sure, it can become a state if there's no more slaves are brought in, and also eventually if all those slaves that are currently there are eventually emancipated. And so we get a compromise by Henry Clay, who again kind of is a recurring figure for us. Maine gets broken off of Massachusetts and becomes a free state, and Missouri becomes a slave state. And then the other big thing that it does is that it establishes the Mason-Dixon line. So how I remember the Missouri Compromise is I always just remember 3M, like the company 3M that makes like sticky notes, because that tells me Missouri, Maine, and Mason-Dixon. And if I can remember the 3 M's, I kind of get the gist of what was negotiated in that compromise. And again, the Mason-Dixon line, anything north of that line from that point on would be free, anything south could have slavery. Okay, so if that's all making sense, let me make sure that... Oh, Abby's your middle name. I thought you were playing a banger, but I forgot I was listening to Spotify. Anyways, okay, so without any more comments or questions, I'm going to keep going, okay? So then we go on another 30 years. We're in 1850. And we have California. Okay, so California applies to be a slave state. Again, a lot of nasty debates. We have states threatening to leave the Union. We, again, get a compromise by Clay, another very famous American senator named Daniel Webster, and then a new guy, Stephen A. Douglas. And this one is... not a very popular compromise. For as much as these guys were credited, nobody liked it. Which maybe that's the definition of a good compromise, right? Because not everybody gets everything that they want. But the South gets a new fugitive slave law, and what that means is that the federal government had to help catch slaves down in the South. California gets admitted as a free state. And then the slave trade itself gets banned in D.C. Not slavery itself, though. And again, if you're like, wait, like, wasn't slavery, the slave trade banned a long time ago? Yes, it was banned in the Constitution in 1804, 1806, but because D.C. wasn't a state, there was kind of a loophole there. So that kind of closed that final loophole. And then the last one, okay, really the last absolute negotiating point that happens before the Civil War is the Kansas-Nebraska Act. And this was thought to kind of be like I don't want to say it was kind of like the final fix that they had proposed, but it certainly was, for at least this guy right here, Stephen Douglas, which I have his name misspelled there, it was what he thought was going to be the best solution going forward. Okay, and it is an absolute disaster when it gets passed. Again, the reason why this happens, why it's called the Kansas-Nebraska Act, is because these two states are wanting to become states because Stephen Douglas wants to put a railroad through them. And so when Native Americans get kicked out of that area, the question is, are they going to become slave or are they going to become free states? Now, normally this wouldn't have been any kind of debate at all because of the whole, Missouri Compromise, which kind of set up the whole Mason-Dixon line thing. However, because the idea of slavery and its expansion had become so contentious by then, the Missouri Compromise gets repealed. And basically what Douglas comes up as his solution then is this idea of popular sovereignty. The idea, and it is a great idea on its face value, like you're going to let the people decide. But what it turns into instead is the purge. It's because everybody runs in with their mom, well, probably not their mom, mostly their brothers, to Kansas and Nebraska, and they just start killing everybody else who doesn't believe the same thing they do about slavery being there. And so we get bleeding Kansas. And from all this, then we also get another thing, which is the Republican Party, which will become a big thing in a few years. Hashtag Lincoln. So basically those were the big compromises we talked about. Obviously, the last straw is Lincoln himself getting elected. So, I should also mention as well, this one right here, which is the Dred Scott decision. Don't forget that one repealed basically everything up until that point. Because again, Dred Scott was a slave who had been brought up to the North by a Southerner, and then he sues for his freedom, and then the Chief Justice of the United States, that'd be Roger B. Taney at the time, he could have only ruled on the Dred Scott point, but then he goes way, way further, and he's like, oh yeah, also, black people can't be American citizens, so you can't sue for your freedom. It's like, whoa, okay, wasn't asking about that, but all right. And then he's like, oh yeah, also, any slave agreement that was even negotiated before the United States was a thing doesn't work. So that means the Northwest Ordinance, like the earliest agreement that, slavery couldn't be in Indiana or Ohio or any other place, it's just gone. It's null and void. And the North just looks at that, and again, it's not like the North, don't think here that the North just hates slavery because they think slavery is wrong. A lot of them just didn't want slavery near them. Again, that's kind of the Free Soil Party kind of thing. And obviously the South just loves it. So, there you go. Lincoln then, and 1860 being the last one. But yes, that is a complicated series of events, but hopefully it kind of makes more sense when we kind of lump them all together. As opposed to we just really kind of break them up between separate mini lessons, and then you're like, this has no continuity, that makes no sense. That's what we're kind of aiming for there. So. You okay there? No? What do you need? Oh. All right. We should deal with at least one world history thing. If nobody's got any pressing questions right now. What was one of the top world history ones? Oh, I can do this one really fast. So changes brought about by the Neolithic Evolution. So when we were talking in world history about the biggest change that ever happened in world history ever, definitely the Neolithic Evolution. So if you don't remember what that is, again, that's the discovery of farming. Okay, so farming, I know corn isn't exactly the most sexy thing in the world. Okay, but farming is huge, and it allows us to, for example, because we plant crops, we have to stay in villages. Our food supplies go way, way up, which means that we scootily poop more, and we make more humans. My wife is putting her head down in shame. But yes, that's what we call it. We call it scootily pooping. Scootily pooping. Okay, yes, so they do that more, which means you get more human beings, which then means, for example, because we have more human beings, that we have now specialized jobs. People can do different things. Like I can be a teacher because I don't have to be out there in a field right now. What else happens? Oh, because certain people get more food than others. That means that we start to get social classes. Trying to think if there's anything else. Those are some of the big ones. That's what I would, for example, if I were asked that question on a final, that's what I would talk about. The Neolithic evolution is gigantic. I would say probably the most transformative invention in like all of human history, with maybe the exception of the internet or the combustible engine. Don't hate on corn, it wants to be loved too. Oh my gosh, I love high school students so much. You underestimate the sexiness of corn. That might be my favorite line of this entire live stream, Seth. Jamie, do not vomit. That's not acceptable. Okay, thank you. Literally, who's hole dying in the background? That'd be my wife, Jillian. Welcome to teaching, where you're constantly sick, and despite being constantly sick, you keep teaching. And Seth, for the love of God, do not send me a picture of sexy corn or something. I don't need that in my life. No, that was my dog, technically. Marcus? Yes, I commanded my dog not to throw up. I don't know, Seth. You have some pretty good references and memes. At least the people who sit around you do. So, anyways, all right. What's another DCUSH thing we can conquer? I don't want to talk about corn anymore. Yeah, I did not touch that water bottle cap today, did I? Because I don't want to get the sick. The panic of whatever year. Well, we talked about two panics. 1837, 1873. Which one do you want? Continuing on the sexy theme, they're both not sexy. So it's like, which one do you not want to do? Both of them. Oh, greedy. All right. So the Panic of 1837. We talked about that in political cartoons. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull open the document that was explaining all this jazz. Panic of 1837 Summary, I believe is what it was called. I think some of you downloaded a copy of it. Others of you just probably deleted. Feels bad, man. So let's look at it. The election of 1836 and the start of the panic. So basically, the Panic of 1837 is one guy's fault. Okay, and that's pretty much Jackson's. Okay, again, so if you don't remember, Jackson gets elected first term in 1828. His second term is in 1832. Okay, and right at the end of his first term, that's when he starts doing his whole bank war thing. Okay, which you can go read about more. That's a whole kind of separate topic. Okay, but inflation had started to become a problem. That was the first cause. Okay, again, a panic is just another name for an economic depression. So, again, if you don't remember or are not familiar with what a recession or a depression is, it's just a slowdown of the economy. So basically, okay, What's inflation? Again, that's the idea. Like if there's only one iPhone in existence in the world, that iPhone is incredibly valuable. But if there's 1,000 iPhones, they're much less valuable. Okay, so basically what happens is that your money does the same thing. Because there's more money out in the economy, even though you have $1 and you think that is $1, it's not. It's like 85 cents. And I know that doesn't sound like it's a huge deal, but when you multiply that to like an absolutely huge scale for a whole economy, you just wipe out people's wealth. And if we look here, okay, in his war against the Bank of the United States, Jackson had ordered withdrawals from the institution, and he sent the money to state banks. So he basically, what Jackson does, and this kind of goes not in the text here, is he sends them out to what are called these little pet banks. They're like, and these banks, like, they print off their own notes. By the way, the United States doesn't have like an official currency at this point. It's just like whatever like banknote your local bank draws up. And so that kind of leads everything open to kind of just like your money becoming worthless. Now, and also it says the federal government paid off the national debt, and basically what that means is that if you're taking up taxes, okay, which the federal government still does at this point, like you don't have any, like you don't really need to pay for much. I mean, obviously there are some things you need to pay for the federal government, but you can basically, and this is what they do, they send the money out back to the states. And again, more money in the economy, that causes more inflation, your money becomes even more worthless. And so what we have happen then is inflation, and Jackson tries to solve the crisis with like the worst solution of all time. So he proposes something called the specie circular. So again, there's like way too much paper money in the economy. Okay, and so he's like, okay, here's the solution. Everybody now has to buy land in gold or silver, and it has to be hard currency. I'm not talking like banknotes. It has to be like something you carry around in your pocket. But now all of a sudden, you've now like basically like to save one leg, you've like amputated your other leg. It doesn't make any sense, because basically what's now occurred is you have even more worthless money in the economy, and then on top of that now, nobody carries around gold or silver like solid coins. And so now nobody can do, I mean, nobody, but obviously some that were still happening, nobody can buy land or sell land, and that means that all this money can no longer be used, and the result was an intense squeezing of the money supply. And then on top of that, yes, then the wheat crop fails, just to make things even worse. So if we look then at the effects, okay, basically it sucks. Mass unemployment, okay, and this is an important line where it says, unlike today, no social safety nets existed. There was no unemployment insurance, no health care. So like basically if your money was in a bank that failed, it's just gone. Which for some people, I mean, if they had debt, that's a good thing, right? Because the bank is just like, well, I mean, all your debt's gone. But if you had savings that you were depending on, or if you lost your job, it's just gone. I mean, there's nothing. Like today, you have unemployment insurance, you have Social Security, you have Medicare or Medicaid. That doesn't exist. And so a third of Americans working are unemployed, okay? And the big effect for political kind of things, okay, is that Mr. Martin Van Buren gets mocked as Martin Van Ruin, and he loses to Indiana's really only and shortest existing president of all time, William Henry Harrison. So there you go. So that's 1837, and all of its glory and fun. Talk about the early colonies? I can. Name anything we're likely to forget on the test. I don't know. I mean, I would tell you look back like at the study guide. Is there anything that you like? I'm not going to hide anything from you. If there's anything there that you're not familiar with, I'd say you're probably going to forget it. I caused the panic of 1837, says Milo. I don't doubt that. Let's see. Oh my gosh, Jillian, that is the worst. Like, that is such a bad pun. She said, I'm amazed, like as in maize, as in corn. My wife shook her head at you. No, it wasn't good. She said it was punny, and by punny she means god-awful. She said, don't be a jerk to me, so I'll be nice. She didn't say jerk, but yeah, she said don't be a jerk. I heard her say, what a brilliant intellectual. Yes, yes. That is exactly what she said. Okay, so Lamb wants the early colonies. I haven't done the Panic 1873, but I can tell you what causes that one. It's pretty simple. That's the one that happens. Really, the only reason why we were looking at the Panic of 1873, we weren't looking at causes, but we were looking at the effects of that one because the effects of the Panic of 1873 was that Reconstruction partially came to an end, right? Because again, it's hard to justify Reconstruction if you bankrupt. So, hi dog. Okay, so early colonies. Lamb, there's I believe 13 of them. Can you pick one? Hi. How you doing? Can I help you? Hi. You've been walked. Hi. Hello? Yes? How can I help you? Can I take your order? What do you want? You just want attention? I realized I left my Chromebook in your class. Feels bad, man. The first colony? Well, what is the first colony, Miss Lamb? You should know that. Which was the first permanent English settlement? And Roanoke don't count. Yes, my wife just signed to me what it was, and she was asking if it was correct, and I nodded yes, and she felt good. No, Marcus, it was not Nebraska. It was not Roanoke. Please do not say Roanoke. That hurts my feelings. Yes, it was indeed Jamestown. Good job, Miss Lamb. My wife is trying to encourage me to watch the Pocahontas movie, which I refuse. I think we watched it about a year ago, didn't we? And I just like commented through the whole thing. I did ruin it, yeah. Nothing like trying to create a love relationship between a 35-year-old man and a 14-year-old girl. That never existed. Yeah, they really don't matter because they did disappear. No, Milo, you got him flip-flopped. Roanoke is the thing. Okay, no. Okay, Roanoke. Okay, Milo. Roanoke is. It wasn't a cult. Okay, that was American Horror Story combined. Okay, you're combining American Horror Story with history, and we don't know what happened to the people in Roanoke. So. Yeah. But if you want to go watch the season on it, you're more than welcome to. I've heard it's the worst one.
No, it's really good.
Is it good? Oh, my wife says it's good, which probably means it's god-awful. Oh, she threw something at me. Okay, I said Jamestown dog. Okay, that's good. Want that back? Coffee level's getting low. Yeah, well, I'll deal with coffee in a minute. Okay, so Jamestown. What do you want to know about Jamestown? What? Just a general overview. I've spent a lot of time reading about it, of all my subjects in master's classes. Yes, Seth, Croatoan was carved into a tree. Very good. Now, if you can like translate to me what that actually means, I could make you a super famous man. There would be a lot of history scholars who want to talk to you, because nobody knows what it means. I'm sure American Horror Story has an explanation. But Jamestown, well, it's settled, first permanent settlement. Basically what they do is they show up. They decide to live in a swamp, which is a bad decision because they start dying like crazy. And when they come over to Jamestown, again, it was mostly gentlemen. It was all dudes, all bros going on a trip. There were no famales there at all. Okay. And they're mostly gentlemen. And they're looking for gold. Okay. But more specifically, they're also looking to convert the natives and to explore. They are, they're looking basically to accomplish all the 3 G's. So God, gold, glory, and then obviously the 4th G was not there, which was girls. It's true. Don't slap your head. It's true. There were no girls there. No ladies. And so, when they start setting things up, obviously things don't go very well. Okay. John Smith is there, but he's in prison for most of the trip. They finally do cut him loose because he's like, dudes, we got to do something. We can't just sit here and keep dying. And he does the whole, if you do not work, you do not eat. And basically what John Smith does is he either does a combination of stealing from the natives or bargaining with them or some combination of the above. And what likely happened was that he, in terms of like the whole Pocahontas situation, was that Pocahontas was kind of a stage event where he was initiated into the local Powhatan tribe. Okay, and from that point on, then he was once he was made a kind of a sachem of that tribe. Then he kind of goes back, continues negotiating. Again, he's involved in that unfortunate accident where he was storing gunpowder on his belt, and that explodes, and then he gets shipped back to England, writes a famous book, which is how then we get up with the Disney stories and stuff. But anyways, Pocahontas then, they keep going on there with the settlers for a while. There's actually peace for a long time, and that is after, yes, as some people are already mentioning, John Rolfe shows up, marries Pocahontas. He is the tobacco bro who, oh, this would be nice. Yes, he actually did marry Pocahontas. Pocahontas was into the whole tobacco thing as well, I guess technically then. And once they start planting tobacco in Jamestown, it is remarkably successful. In fact, it was so successful they grow it down the streets. And I'm not exaggerating there. They literally did. Jillian, yes, this is a tough crowd. If you can't take the heat, stay out of the kitchen. If you can't run with the big dogs, stay on the porch. If I don't have enough idioms to keep going with that. It's DCUSH, man. We're cutthroat here. Funny story. Speaking of cutthroat, just like King Philip. Except that was cut head, not cutthroat. Speaking of Jamestown, and, well, actually, just colonies. He wasn't in Jamestown. All right, another world history thing. I don't got too much time left. I got like 15 minutes. Too soon, man? Oh, come on. It's been 400 years. Good Puritans, man. Chopping off people's heads. Let's see. Okay. We already did the Magna Carta. Influence of Hellenism. Okay, so world history people, what I tell you to talk about Hellenism with, make sure you understand that it's a fusion, because of Alexander the Great and all of his armies kind of marching, is that it's a fusion of Greek, Indian, Persian, and Egyptian cultures. So those four together, it focuses on everything from women having increased rights during that time to, we talked about the city of Alexandria. Okay, so like learning spreads, Greek culture. What else? I think that was kind of like the main gist of Hellenism. It's that kind of cultural exchange between those four. So, for example, Alexander, he marries one of his wives or husbands was a Persian wife. So he even dresses like a Persian. So there's another example. And Hellenism's a big deal because it helps spread a lot of the achievements of the Greeks. So like we get a lot of the writings of Plato and Aristotle and a lot of their inventions. Inventions like those of Archimedes. They didn't invent anything except for thinking. Another way that I always remember too that the philosophers are connected to Alexander is that Alexander the Great's personal tutor was Aristotle, which feels good, man. So yeah, influence of Hellenism across the world. This is a big deal, man. I feel like the world history ones are really short compared to our DCUSH ones, but that's not really to be super unexpected, just considering that in DCUSH we go a little bit more in depth. I think we should call Sarah Abby from now on. I'm down with that. We have too many Sarahs. I don't have very many Abbies. Okay, chat, let me teach you something. If you want to say something to somebody, you do one of this. At name shade. Okay? So that way we know who you're throwing the shame towards. Or the shade and the shame. I want to be very clear here. All right, DCUSH people, unless you come up with a few more suggestions, we can just look at another one of the top objectives. But I will defer to you unless there's something you want us to look at. If you call me Abby, I will not respond. Go to top objectives because I don't have my Chromebook. There is a Canvas app for mobile, Seth, I will tell you. Just an aside, I'm not saying you have to be on that, but I found that app to be actually helpful during those times of things. Explain the system of mercantilism. Oh, look at that. We actually already did the causes and effects of the Panic of 1837. Look at that. Okay, cool. Explain the system of mercantilism and describe its application to the American continent. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go to Google Drawing for this because I'm gonna make an absurdly awful drawing with our time remaining, and I'm gonna draw America, and it's gonna be great. Oh, here. You know what? Let's have some fun here in chat. Let's do one of these guys. Okay. Which terrifies me because I'm not sure if this will work on your phone, but we'll give it a shot here. Okay. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to set up a Google a Google. Actually, no. You know what? Oh, let's do that. I like that idea. I'm not sure if Google Drawing will work on your mobile. I've never used it on mobile before, but we can give it a try. And if that doesn't work, actually, you know what? I'm just gonna say that's not gonna work. Let's try. I'm gonna go make a blank Google slide. Okay, and I'm gonna drop like 20 blank slides on it, and I'm gonna test you and see, can you actually draw mercantilism? And I'm talking like, for example, like the triangle trade, right? So let me go make a super blank presentation that I'm just gonna send the share link in the chat, and you can click right on it, and then you can take your shot at it. So pick a slide. Don't put any symbols or other kind of things on anybody else's slide. You okay, love? It's tired? Okay. You want me to go get you a drink? My coffee level's at like 37% right now or something. Okay. All right, so let's do it. All right, so I'm gonna get the share link. I'm gonna send it out to you guys, and then you can try to draw mercantilism. This is another like really good practice strategy. So if like somebody asks you to do like any kind of other complicated kind of like thing to explain in world, I mean, this is, guys, world history people, this can apply to you too. Like, for example, like, could you draw cultural diffusion? Okay, or like, can you draw the Panic of 1837? Which would be masterful if you could actually draw that. I'd be very impressed. So let me grab the share link and get it out to you guys. My MacBook right now is like literally on fire because of how much processing it's having to go through with doing this. But I'll send out the link. I can stay on a few minutes longer since this is taking a minute to come up. Oh, I have to give it a name. Draw. Okay. Here we go. So I'm going to make it also that you don't have to have a Google account to actually access it. You can just do it. Obviously, if you're a world history person, don't attempt it. It's not going to make no sense. But there it is. Links in chat. So drawing, and then this is mercantilism. Boom. Now the cool thing here, and what I'm going to do actually for you guys, is I'm going to pull out the multi-view screen so we can see multiple people try to draw it at once, which is kind of a cool thing. So we can watch all of you attempt to draw it. It's the same thing as Google Drawing, by the way. Google Slides basically is all your symbols are still up at the top. Hi. What's up? Why are you being so needy right now? Hey, stop. Look at my hand. Oh, it's view only? Okay, I'll fix it. Hey, good job. Okay, so I'm just in case, I'm going to send the link one more time. Boop. There you go. Try that one. It should be the same link, but now you should just be able to edit it. Hi. What's up? So mercantilism, I would, for example, I would make sure you draw a home country and a colony, and talk about kind of like the things going between them. Seems like Alyssa's already on it. Yeah, it will make you leave the stream. That's okay. I can still see you drawing over on the other one. Yeah, it's okay. Don't worry about it if you have to leave the stream. Hi. Why are you so needy? Why are you doing so much tail wag right now? We've walked you twice. Oh, that was food. That was dog food. So again, your drawing tools are going to be up here, just on the bar like they normally be in Google Drawing. You can draw it. You gonna go eat, JJ? That was your food, big guy. Call's gonna go eat your food. Go, Jamie. Go eat. Sweetie, will you like toss some cheese in there for him or something? Thank you. I think you can do this on your phone. I've never tried it, but you're more than welcome to. Even if like you have to go to your computer tomorrow and do it. Yeah. Or you, I've never actually, I should try sometime in the future doing Google Drawing on mobile. I've never tried it, and I have no idea if there's a mobile app. It's never been something that I've thought about using. I think something that'd be really cool that I'd love for Google to go after. Oh, it doesn't work? Okay, cool. I'd love Google to go after is like where you do Google Drawing, but you can use a mobile device as a draw, like as like a drawing feature. So like what I mean is like you can set like the phone like right here, right, and then you can like draw with your finger and it would draw on the screen. That would be really cool. Want to say hi? Want to say hi? Okay. So as you guys are practicing drawing mercantilism, and by the way, if you don't know what it is, this would be a great time to learn from some of your peers and check out what they're doing. Give them feedback. Looks like people are, I see a couple drawings already started on there, so. So anyways, while people are doing that, are there any last minute questions? Because it's 9 o'clock. I do want to wrap this up here soon. You know, I go to bed so early, so. Jamie, be nice. Don't be a jerk. You pronounce it mercantilism. I've heard both. Here, let's, you know what, let's, how to officially pronounce mercantilism. Mercantilism. Okay, we're gonna listen in the Cambridge Dictionary. So I won't be able to hear it because unfortunately, like the audio system that I have set on, I can't hear anything that my computer's currently making. I have to do this whenever I'm streaming, so you guys will hear it. So you'll hear it. I don't know what it's gonna say. Wait. Oh wait, no. I'm getting ahead of myself. I gotta actually turn on so you can actually hear anything coming from the computer. Here we go. Okay, you ready? So I'm gonna have it play. I have no idea what it's gonna say. Here we go. Did it say anything? Apparently there's one in American English and yeah, I don't know. I can have it play on YouTube if it's not playing here. Oh wait, that was the Oxford. Oh, let's go back. Let's listen to the Oxford Dictionary. Do it. Again, I can't hear it, so you'll have to tell me what it sounds like. So, which one was it? Oh, you pronounce it mercantilism. Nice. Oh, you can't hear it? Oh, it's not playing at all. Darn. Let's see. Maybe I just have to change something simple. No, it's yeah, for some reason maybe it's because I'm like streaming right now and my computer's just not feeling feeling the need to play two different things at once. It's already pretty stressed as is. MacBook Airs are not designed to do this. Here, you know what? I'm going to try to listen to it on my own speakers and see what it says.
Mercantilism.
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 Hear that? It says mercantilism. It's what what I've been saying. Sorry, Jillian. No, mercantilism is no. No. Good try. Mercantilism. Because I'm not a robot. Mercantilism. Alright, so unless there's any last minute questions, I'm going to let you guys finish up your drawings. And they're looking good. I'm just going to pick on the one that looks more complete so far. Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah. Processed goods sold really cheap because... Okay, no, yeah. So the top arrow here wouldn't exist. This one up here. Let me grab like a arrow thing. This one, this is not correct. It's basically just these two down here that are right. Except, again, the raw goods are going that direction, and then the finished products get sold back that way. Does that kind of make sense? So again, we have raw goods going that way, and then finished products going back towards the colonies. Remember, there's a whole bunch of rules, like the colonies couldn't trade with anybody else. Okay? You remember the whole point of the game was that you're making as much hard coinage as possible. So think of it like the dream species circular. Okay, so again, raw colonies, raw goods going from the colonies up to England, and finished products going back. Yeah, this drawing's pretty close. Let's look at the other one. Yeah, this one's correct. Yep, very nice. Very good. A couple people got it. Nice. I like this. That was kind of something fun to do. It was different. Other than learning how to pronounce Mercantilism, which is always free time. Okay, so let's see if there's any last minute questions. Nope, I don't think so. So, unless you guys got something you want to mention in the next 30 seconds, I'm going to peace out here. What are you making? Oh, just reading. Okay. So, I will see, let's see, when will I see you guys next? I saw you guys today, so I will see you guys then on Friday. DCUSH students and world history students. If you're still hanging out here, I will see you guys then next block. Okay? Alright. See you guys later. Bye. Peace.